Hello Scorpio, and welcome to your new moon lunar cycle insight video for the new moon cycle beginning with the Aquarius new moon on the 4th of February. So this is a really exciting lunar cycle. Aquarius initiates a wave of fresh energy, of visionary energy, of hopes and dreams being set into motion. We also still have all of the planets moving direct right through this month up until the beginning of March. So this is optimum time, fertile soil to really seed our visions and hopes for the future. For you, Scorpio, this new moon takes place in your 4th house. So this is the womb space of the birth chart. This is the space where we turn within to nurture and heal ourselves. So this could be a time when you are really feeling the need to claim some space for yourself. Aquarius is the sign of freedom. So perhaps you are looking to liberate yourself from the past. You know, the 4th house holds all of our memories, the watery womb space, the things that were programmed into us even before birth. So this can be an energy of kind of breaking those chains of old karmic contracts, old ancestral issues, breaking free of duties and obligations, particularly to family members. It can be a time when you start to really think about your needs and what makes you feel safe, secure, what makes you feel nurtured. This is a time of renewing your commitment to yourself. It can be a time when you may be feeling on a more practical level the need to make changes in your physical location. So this can be, you know, perhaps you want to move house, you want to move to a new area, you want to move country, perhaps you want to make some changes, you want to declutter your living space in some way. This is about anchoring the foundations of the new. You know, the 4th house is the bottom of the birth chart. It's the roots, the foundation that all of our big dreams and visions are built upon. So if last month's lunar eclipse in Leo really shook the top of your tree, really shook the areas of career and purpose for you, now is the time that you can begin to rebuild, you know, rebuild anew, build something from the ground up, build something that's never been done before. Set it out, set it into motion at this very auspicious time. Mercury is also in the 4th house at the beginning of the month, amplifying perhaps that need to speak some truth with the people that you're closest to. You know, perhaps reprogramming your old belief systems as well. You know, maybe some memories are coming up that you need to process and work through. As he shifts into Pisces on the 10th of February, he's going to move into your 5th house, where he will be going retrograde later this year. Next month. He's going to be going retrograde here next month around the time of the Pisces new moon. So anything that is rising up in these areas at this time will come up for healing, will come up for review and reflection during his retrograde period. The sun's going to join him here on the 18th of February, and we've also got Chiron finishing up his stay here in the 5th house too. So we have a lot of emphasis on the 5th house in your fellow water sign in Pisces. So this already can be an emotional and deeply healing period of the year for you, Scorpio. You know, your psychic senses are tingling and, you know, you're feeling the stirring of emotion within you anyway. And the 5th house is about how you express yourself, in the world, you know, your unique individual essence, how you feel about sharing your gifts and talents with others. It can be the area of our birth chart where we really have to look at issues around how we love and honor ourselves and our creative capabilities. So this can be a time when you are feeling more creative, more in the flow than usual. You know, Mercury in Pisces, everything becomes quite poetic. The sun in the 5th house, you know, creative expression, you know, a stimulating energy, a rebirthing kind of energy moving through the chart. But we also have Chiron there, and he is finishing up his 7-year journey through Pisces this month. He's been in your 5th house since 2011. So this can be a time when you have been perhaps doubting your abilities, doubting your worth, doubting your gifts and talents. And as he prepares to make this shift into Aries, into your 6th house, around the 18th, 19th of the month, this can be a time when you are really clearing up those old self-sabotaging belief systems of, oh, this isn't good enough, I'm not good enough, you know, all of these perhaps feelings of unworthiness that you have around yourself and what you have to offer can come up to be looked at. Perhaps there are, you know, this is connected with the 4th house energy, you know, things that you were told growing up, oh, you know, that's not practical, you can't be this, you can't do that, you can't make money off your creative endeavors, you can't make money doing what you love. These kind of things coming up for release during this period. We may also feel a little bit more open-hearted, a little bit more romantic at this time, but simultaneously Chiron's asking us to clear the wounds of the heart. You know, this is the house ruled over by Leo, the heart center, so there can be some emotional releasing going on during this period too, particularly around the time of the full moon in Virgo, which comes and rises up in your 11th house of dreams and goals and visions. So this full moon is very deeply healing because it's on this axis of Pisces Virgo, and it's also, you know, rising at the same time as Chiron makes his epic shift, which only happens once every 54 years, so it's a big time. And the 11th house for you is ruled over by Virgo, and it is all about your hopes and dreams for the future. Virgo is the sacred container through which the gifts of creativity and connection to spirit can manifest into the physical world. So this can be a time when you're really looking at how you can make things tangible and solid, you know, how you can reorganize, restructure your life so that you can begin to, in a very real, grounded way, share your gifts with the rest of the world. Or maybe there is some dreams that you're setting into motion that just need to be refined a little. Perhaps there's some energies around you that need purifying and decluttering before you can really move forward. If you've got people in your life that are contributing to these 5th house feelings that of, you know, not feeling enough or feeling drained or overwhelmed, now is the time when you might have to start to set some boundaries in your friendships and circles, as well as in your family, as we spoke about at the beginning of the month. So this can be a time when you have to really claim your space to be creative as well. You have to not listen to these opinions of other people that might be suggesting that you do things in their way, or, you know, they are projecting on you from their own sense of not feeling enough or not living their dreams. So this can be a time of healing, of letting go, of restructuring. Perhaps, you know, some of your big goals and visions for the future just need to be tweaked a little bit. They just need to be streamlined. There needs to be a little bit more focus, and the Virgo full moon can really bring that into clarity for you. So Chiron is transitioning from that 5th house that we've talked about into the 6th house, also related with Virgo. So we really have this emphasis for the next 7 years or so until 2027 on healing yourself, on healing your mind, body and soul. And when a planet shifts signs, as Chiron's doing this month, we often get a foreshadowing of the lessons that will unfold during this long-term transit. So looking at how we are sabotaging our own health and well-being, looking at where we are thinking that we need to be perfect in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, in order for us to share what is in our heart. This is a time when we're claiming back our own power, where we are claiming back our power to heal ourselves on every level, mentally, emotionally and spiritually. And in the 6th house, we can be specifically looking at self-sabotaging, self-deprecating and self-flagellating thoughts. You know, this can be where we can be really critical of ourselves because it's Virgo who notices the details. So this is a time of saying no. You know, I know how valuable I am. I know that I don't need to be living up to this image of perfection that society, social media in particular, you know, dealing with the 11th house, portrays. And you may feel like you are upgrading health-wise. You know, you might feel like you need to start a new detox or cleanse or health regime, exercise regime of some kind. You know, we're purifying the vessel, decluttering our lives on every level this month for you, Scorpio. Interestingly, we've also got Mars moving into your opposite sign on the 14th, Valentine's Day. Maybe an explosive one for you, Scorpio, as he comes into your 7th house. So this is where you can kind of feel that sensuality, that magnetism, reawakening in your life. You know, this is where we can start to feel the pull of being in the body and experiencing all the pleasure that we have, being a soul incarnate in a physical body at this time. But also Mars moving through the 7th house can be a fiery energy, because the 7th house is how we relate to others. It's our relationships, not just romantically, but all of the relationships that we're involved in, all of our reflections with other people. So this can be a time when there can be some anger or some irritation surfacing. This can be a time when we might be having a little bit less patience with other people, particularly as Mars is your ancient ruler. We might be, you know, feeling that sting in our tail, wanting to whip out a little bit during this month. So it's important that we think before we react. We channel this energy into energizing our partnerships, into grounding our relationships, you know, into really using it as a time to become more intimate with our loved ones than just lashing out and saying things in anger that we might regret. So just be aware of that this month, that, you know, your relationships can become a little bit tested, a little bit inflamed, but also on the flip side, you know, they can feel more passionate and more highly charged as well. So I'm going to pick a card for you to culminate this reading, Scorpio. These are from the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. Free from judgment, free to love. And this card is exactly what I just said about not judging yourself, about not being hard on yourself, not being critical with yourself, and nourishing yourself with the love that you desire, perhaps didn't receive as a child, perhaps aren't receiving in your relationships now. How can you give that love to yourself? You know, how can you love yourself in a way that you perhaps would like other people to? And really letting go of these feelings of hyper self-criticism, because there's a lot of energy going on in that 6th house this month. Mars is going to be there for the first half of the month still. He's been there since New Year. He's going to be conjuncting Uranus. He's been squaring Pluto in Capricorn as well during the dark moon phase and the build up to the Aquarius moon. So use the feelings that are rising as a indicator of what needs to be purified. Go deep and think, why am I feeling these feelings? When did I first feel them? And, you know, remind yourself how untrue they are. Thank you so much for listening to me, Scorpio. If you wish to connect with me further, you can click, get my words out, click the link beneath this video. So much love.